At first glance, the idea of struggling for peace seems almost contradictory. Peace, after all, is often defined as the absence of conflict, a state of calm and harmony. Yet, throughout history and in our personal lives, we see time and time again that peace is not passively attained. It is not simply the quiet that comes when weapons are laid down or when voices are stilled. It is something deeper, something that must be actively pursued, protected, and, when threatened, fought for. This paradox is central to understanding the true nature of peace and why it demands our struggle. Peace is more than the absence of open warfare or violence. There can be a deceptive calm, a silence that overlays societies marked by oppression, injustice, or fear. In such places, people may not hear the sounds of battle, but they feel the weight of injustice in every aspect of their lives. They may live under regimes that silence dissent, restrict freedoms, and enforce conformity. In these circumstances, peace is only an illusion, order imposed by force rather than harmony built on justice. It is in these moments that the struggle for peace becomes not only necessary but urgent. The fight is not for disorder, but for the right to live with dignity, for the freedom to speak, to worship, to dream. History teaches us that every significant advance toward peace and justice has come through struggle. The abolition of slavery, the achievement of civil rights, the overthrow of colonialism, none of these victories arrived quietly or without sacrifice. They were born of protest, resistance, and, at times, great personal risk. People marched in the streets, stood up in courtrooms, and sometimes even took up arms, not because they loved conflict, but because they believed in a future where all could be free and equal. These battles were not fought for the sake of fighting, but for the promise of a peace grounded in justice. Importantly, the struggle for peace is not always violent. Some of the most powerful movements in history have been nonviolent, yet fiercely determined. Mahatma Gandhi's campaign for India's independence was rooted in nonviolence, yet it required immense courage and unyielding resolve. Martin Luther King Jr. led countless Americans in peaceful protest, facing hostility and danger to demand civil rights. Their struggles were not marked by weapons, but by the moral force of their convictions, by their willingness to endure hardship and to confront injustice head-on. The need to struggle for peace does not end when conflict subsides. Peace is fragile and must be defended. The forces that threaten it, greed, prejudice, ignorance, do not disappear. They must be confronted again and again, sometimes in new forms. Complacency and indifference are among peace's greatest threats. If we turn away from injustice, if we ignore the suffering of others, we allow the foundations of peace to erode. To maintain peace, we must remain vigilant, courageous, and willing to act. Ultimately, the struggle for peace is not a sign that peace is unattainable, but rather that it is precious. It is a reflection of our deepest values, justice, dignity, freedom, and our determination to see these values realized in the world. True peace is not passive. It is the outcome of effort, sacrifice, and unyielding hope. We struggle not because we reject peace, but because we cherish it so deeply. In this way, the struggle for peace is not a contradiction, but its purest expression. For only peace built on justice, equality, and freedom can endure, and that peace is always worth the struggle.